Welcome back. The Egyptian Financial Regulatory Authority has approved lowering stock exchange trading fees to encourage investment and competitiveness with other regional markets. The FRA approved cutting trading service fees to 0.005% from 0.00625%, clearing and settlement fees to 0.100% from 0.125%, and stock market commissions to 0.0100% from 0.120%. The cost charged to investors for trading insurance will also fall. Now, trading services on bonds listed on the stock exchange will be reduced to become half the trading service fees on shares following the adjustment. Now let's head to the trading floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, where our business correspondent Temple Ashaju is standing by to give us updates of today's trading day. Now, Temple, let's begin this conversation with the NSE just announcing an amendment on pricing methodology from 10,000 to 100,000 to change the price of a stock. How's that playing out on the market today, and what are traders saying about it?
Well, thanks, BC. A lot of traders are really happy to hear that piece of news that you just mentioned. It actually took effect on Friday, the 11th of October 2019, to replace the three-tier rule that was existing before now. I think that was even brought on board some early 2018 or thereabout was when they launched that three-tier rule for pricing methodology, which has now been changed. Now we have the minimum trade size required for price changing at 100,000, as opposed to the three-tier rule where you had the Group A, the Group B, and the Group C. For the Group A, the minimum trade size required for changing price for some stocks classified under the Group A used to be just 10,000. For Group B, we used to have 50,000. For the Group C, we used to have 100,000. But what this new amendment has brought in place is now a flat price or flat trade size of 100,000. This is something that is expected to manage the level of decline that the market has been recording in recent time. On average, daily basis, the 30-day average of the volume of transactions in the market is usually around 3 billion naira. So, but in recent times, we haven't been seeing that. At some point, we will see some huge volume of transaction, but the value of this transaction will be so minimal. So, at the end of the day, with the implementation of this new rule, what we will have will be more value, and then that value will commiserate with the volume of the transactions that will be traded in the markets. The reason again is simply because we know that in recent times the market has been grappling with a lot of losses. Offshore investors have actually, taken exit. At some point, what they do is just to come in briefly for speculative purpose, put down money, and when they see the domestic investors, playing the game with them as well, then they move off the markets again. So that's what we've been saying. So this new rule is basically expected to change the whole dynamics of price movements on stocks, whether it's a low price stock or it's a medium price stock or it's even the large cap in the market. Again, if you look at the large size cap or large cap stocks in the market, in recent times they've hit new lows. The likes of Nestle have been, hovering around 1,100, 1,200. This is a stock that used to trade around 1,500, 1,600 naira per unit. But so now you have it at such a lower rate. Ditto for the likes of Zenith Bank that was trading at 20-something naira, 22 naira. That used to be the resistance level. We used to have Guarantee Trust Bank at about 35, 38 naira as a support level, but now these stocks have lost all of this value. So this new rule, according to traders, according to analysts, according to market watchers, they expect it to really change the paradigm for stocks in the Nigerian stock market here at DC.
Well, so talking about the new rule now, what direction are we likely to see the markets this week?
It's difficult to say now because, again, if you go by the usual pattern of analysis where you see valuations changing for good in the market due to the fact that they've hit the floors and some kind of bargain hunting setting, and then you see the prices changing for the good of those bargain hunting, you do expect the market to close up. But I mean, the dynamics have really changed. These days, when you do think the market will close upwards, at the end of the day, you just see some profit takers, swooping in to take all of the profits, in spite of the bargain hunting that you think has actually managed the price of that particular stock enough for you. But the trend we've been seeing is that there's no real catalyst in the system. We know that President Muhammadu Buhari has hinted during the presentation of the budget last week that there will be some considerations for capital markets transactions in terms of value-added taxes, but we haven't really heard any pronouncement from the Minister of Finance regarding that particular statement. Perhaps when the World Bank and IMF annual meetings are over, that will be part of the conversation that will be brought back home here, and they will turn into some kind of policy amendments or policy direction for the capital market eventually, because every time such a meeting holds, we get to see some renewed interest in some of these frontier markets, of which Nigeria is a major part of. So at the end of the day, we do hope that that will come on board and be able to, be some kind of bring some kind of a change to the music of the market. But as things stand right now, there's no major catalyst that we can say will really change the market for good. So in essence, we still see a lot of the bearish sentiment that has been hovering in the market in the last 2 weeks, persisting. That's basically the sense that we've got right now. If we go by what we also see on the floor right now, the banking sector of the market, which was up last week by more than 1% or thereabout, is currently down in the market. We're seeing, investors making sense of the little gains that they can of the banking stocks in the market. There's really not so much interest. The large size stocks under that category are still in the negative territory as we speak. There's really no renewed interest. If you look at FBN Holdings, was costing to 5 naira 50 kobo some 2 weeks ago. Now it's back to 5 naira 30 kobo. Look at the likes of Zenith Bank that was doing so well some 2 weeks ago, and even for the greater part of last week when it traded at 18 naira, it is now back to, it is falling lower than where it actually closed on Friday. So it explains the fact that there's really nothing new for investors to play around with in the system. We haven't really seen the vibrant return of the foreign portfolio investors in the market, and that is simply because there's nowhere to really put money. Even in the fixed income side of the market, for the greater part of last week, it wasn't really bright enough for investors. Only a few investors have been particular about some papers on the bond side of the market, the 2034 security, which is at the longer end of the curve, where they think that they will be able to make some more gains. But as things stand, investors with large pockets, deep pockets, will be the ones playing in the markets, albeit institutional investors or maybe some retail investors. The minimum that I think you can really put in the market now should be around 5 million, and you just wait for it to move by some less than 5 basis points, and then you edge out of the market.
All right, Temple, thanks for those updates. We'll keep hope alive and hope that something good may just happen this week. And that's where we end the show today. Thank you for watching. I am BC Adebayo.